Welcome back to the Keto Bistro. Thank you for joining in. Today we're going to make ooey gooey cream cheese cake bars. If you'll look on Pinterest, they're often called the Neiman Marcus bars. So we're going to start with our crust foundation, the cake foundation. So in a mixing bowl, you're going to add 2 eggs. You're going to need 4 total for the recipe, but 2's going in the crust part and 2 in the ooey gooey cream cheese part. So you have 2 eggs and a half a cup butter, which is a stick of butter. So I'm using the salted. You can use unsalted. So I'm just going to mix that up quickly just to beat the eggs. And then the dry ingredients. So this is your cake batter mix. You're going to need protein powder, whey protein powder, unflavored. So I'm going to add 1 1/3 cup. Almond flour. And you can use coconut flour instead of almond flour. I'm going to use 1 cup of that. A half tablespoon baking powder. And then I'm going to use a half cup of monk fruit sweetener. You can use sweetener of your choice. I'm just mixing. I'm using a 1/4 cup golden, a 1/4 cup classic white. You don't have to mix. It's just kind of like the brown sugar and white sugar, but you don't. Most of the time I just use a half a cup of the regular monk fruit sweetener. You're going to mix that up until it's incorporated and sort of doughy. Okay, once you mix it up and it's kind of a doughy consistency, you want to make sure you grease a pan. You can use spray, you can use butter. I'm going to use a mixture of what butter was left in my bowl and then coconut oil. And I'm just going to rub it all over the pan. Make sure you get it all up the sides because this will rise and you'll have kind of like a full pan of creamy cheesecake like brownies. And then preheat your oven to 350. Okay, so now that the pan is greased real well, I'm just going to leave my hands slimy because that's going to keep the dough from sticking. You may want to put it on parchment paper. I've seen it that way before. I'm not. I'm just going to spread it all on the bottom of the pan. Okay, once it's spread out all evenly on the pan, you're going to start on your top layer. So I rinse the beaters and the bowl a little bit, but you don't have to. And don't use a new bowl, less mess to clean up. So I'm going to add 2 eggs. Beat those a little bit. And my cream cheese is not as softened as I like it, so I'm just going to take the block of cream cheese and pop it in the microwave for 20 seconds. So to the eggs, I'm going to add 1 block of Philadelphia cream cheese that's been softened, or if you need to put it in the microwave, do that. I use Philadelphia because when I check the back of the package, Philadelphia usually has less carbs than some of the other. So just the Philadelphia cream cheese blocks. 1 of those. And I'm going to go ahead and mix that in with the egg to try to get the lumps out before I add my confectioner sugar. So I'm going to try to get all the little lumps out first. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of confectioner sugar replacement. I usually use pure, but I couldn't find it, so this time I'm going to try Swerve. So I'm going to add a half at a time. A half a cup, and then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of vanilla, and just make sure it's smooth and not lumpy. So I just tasted it. I wanted to make sure it was sweet enough since I'm using a different type of sugar replacement. Okay, I'm just going to let the beaters sit and drip. So all you're going to do is pour this right into the top of your patted down bottom layer. Now this is going to come out of the oven kind of ooey and gooey, and that's okay. If you stick a toothpick in, it's not going to be like brownies where you get a clean toothpick on the way out. I mean, you can bake it a little bit longer, but I like that top layer to be a little bit gooey. So I'm going to spread it around, and if I need to bake it a little bit longer, then I will. Okay, so while that's baking, I'm going to clean up, and I'll see you in a bit. So I have a 9 by 13 pan. I'm going to get 35 servings. You'll see it's nice and brown. It's kind of cracking a little. That's exactly what you want. So I'm going to send a picture with the macro breakdown for the pan and for the brownies, but each brownie will have around 71 calories, 7.3 grams of fat, a little over 1 carb, and 4.5 grams of protein. So it fits into the macros perfectly.